All right, let's just jump right in. The world of work, it's in the middle of this massive transformation. And I'm not talking about a minor update. This is a fundamental rewrite of the rules. And you know what's driving it all? Technology, specifically artificial intelligence.
And hey, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed by all this, you are definitely not alone. It kind of feels like we're all standing on one side of this giant chasm, right? And way over on the other side is the future of our careers. The real question is, how in the world do we build the bridge to get there?
You see, what makes this moment so different is the sheer speed of it all. This isn't just another business trend. Technology, with AI as this huge catalyst, is accelerating at an exponential rate. It means all the old maps we used to navigate our careers, they're becoming obsolete, like right before our eyes.
So in this explainer, we're not going to hand you a simple list of answers. That's just not realistic. Instead, we're going to explore the 3 core paradoxes, these huge tensions that everyone, from a new hire all the way to the CEO, is wrestling with. Because if we can understand these, we can start to chart a real course forward.
Okay, let's get into our first and maybe the most personal tension, the job paradox. Is all this new tech here to replace us, or is it here to help us completely reinvent what we do?
I mean, come on. This is the question, isn't it? It's the little worry in the back of all of our minds. The headlines are always so pessimistic, painting AI as this unstoppable job destroyer. But what's the real story? What does the data actually show us?
Well, look, there is some truth to the fear. Projections do show that jobs with a lot of routine, repeatable tasks are likely to see a decline by 2035. Think manufacturing, construction, retail. These are all areas where automation can just do the job pretty efficiently.
But, and this is a huge but, that is only half the picture. At the very same time, other sectors, especially knowledge-based ones like tech and R&D, are projected to grow a lot. So this isn't a story of just job loss. It's a story of a massive job shift.
And that shift, it really all comes down to one word: skills. The paradox isn't about humans versus machines. It's about a huge evolution in what companies actually value. The demand is moving away from the simple, repetitive stuff and rocketing toward the things that make us uniquely human: our creativity, our critical thinking, our ability to connect with each other.
And that leads us right into our second big tension, the human paradox. This one is all about the clash between what our organizations need to survive and what we as people need to actually thrive. This just lays it out perfectly. On one hand, companies are told they have to be constantly agile, ready to pivot at a moment's notice. But on the other hand, we as workers, we need psychological stability. We need a solid ground to stand on so we can learn and grow. I mean, you can't be agile if you're terrified you're about to fall off a cliff, right?
So what if this is a false choice? What if the goal isn't to pick one or the other? The companies that are really nailing this understand that the real win is in finding a totally new kind of balance between the two. And there's a fantastic word for this: stability. It's this idea that you strategically create a stable, secure base, with clear goals, psychological safety, real support, and that very stability is what enables people to be more agile, to take risks, and to adapt without just completely burning out.
The legendary Peter Drucker just hit the nail on the head with this. See, real agility isn't about just being busy. It's about being effective. It's about having enough slack in the system to focus on the work that really matters, instead of just spinning our wheels on tasks that probably shouldn't even exist anymore.
And this brings us to our third and final tension, the value paradox. And this one really makes us question the entire way we've measured the worth of new technology. You know, the old way of thinking was simple. You'd ask, will this new tech make us faster or cheaper? Simple math. But with AI weaving itself into everything we do, we have to ask a much deeper question. Is the true impact, the true value, or even the true cost of these tools actually showing up on the bottom line?
Because there is this massive gap between the sales pitch for AI and what people are actually experiencing day to day. We're told it'll reduce our workload, but for so many, it just leads to more stress. It promises to make work easier, but it often just automates the simple stuff, leaving us humans with only the most difficult, brain-breaking problems.
Now, just let this number sink in for a sec. 77%. In one survey, a staggering 77% of people said AI has actually increased their workload. Think about that. 3/4 of us feel like the tech that's supposed to be helping is actually giving us more to do. That is a huge silent cost that never shows up on a balance sheet.
And it's creating this real anxiety. Over half of us are worried about the lines getting blurry between what we do and what the machine does.
When you don't even know where your contribution ends and the AI's begins, it raises some really tough questions about everything from career growth to just getting credit for your own work.
So here's the bottom line. We need a new way to measure value. The old financial models just don't cut it anymore. We need a new calculus, one that puts human outcomes, like our well-being, our ability to learn, our sense of autonomy, on the exact same level as business outcomes. Okay, so we've explored these three big thorny paradoxes. Where does that leave us? Let's try and pull it all together into a clear, actionable blueprint for how to actually navigate what's coming next.
Here it is, a path forward in 3 powerful steps. First, we have to cultivate our uniquely human capabilities. We've got to double down on creativity and critical thinking. Second, we need to intentionally engineer human performance. This means redesigning how we work so that people and AI are true partners, not rivals. And third, we have to completely redefine value itself, measuring our success with both business KPIs and human-centric metrics.
You know, the common thread through all of this, it's not about who has the coolest new tech. The real winners in this new era are going to be the organizations that are intentional, the ones who build a culture where people and AI are a seamless team, and where adapting and changing isn't some big, stressful event. It's just a normal part of doing business.
Because when you really think about it, the future of work isn't something that just happens to us. It's not being dictated by some algorithm in a server farm somewhere. It is being written right now, by the choices we all make, the skills we decide to build, and the values we refuse to compromise on. So the only question left is, how are you going to write your chapter?